Welcome, fellow Stardust. Are you ready for a scare? I see you've come back for more. If you're new here, buckle up, and thank you for joining me today. My name is DeRay, aka the Rainbow Fright, lover of all things dark, creepy, and weird. Today's movie review will be on short film, The Rink.
What's with the aggression, friend?
Now. Don't be stupid. I don't want to hurt you.
I'm not the one being stupid, my bat-wielding compadre.
This film is written and directed by Ronald Short, a talented filmmaker from Austin, Texas, who I've had the opportunity of working with on one of his films, Review Mirror, as the second AD. I was lucky enough to get Ronald to answer a few questions about the making of this film, so some of his responses will be included in this video. As of today, this film is available to watch for free at shortpicturesindependent.com, as well as vimeo.com/SPIPROD. These links are also available down below in the description. So if you'd like to watch the film first, please feel free because this video will include some spoilers. Now, let's go ahead and do the summary and then I'll break it down. In a dimly lit roller skating rink, we see Tess skating alone while May watches on with a glint of nostalgia in her eye. May's girlfriend, Dolores, walks over and it's clear that their relationship is a budding new one. Lo has an important question for May, but struggles to find the words. Before she can pop the big question, Miriam sees the owner of the rink, Ralph, pull up after she called him, warning him of the people hanging out inside. He tells her to call the police and walks in armed with his baseball bat. He orders the group to stay put until the police come, but Bill doesn't take too kindly to his tone. Ralph attempts one last time to gain control of the situation, but Bill turns the lights off and we then cut to the police, who show up with their guns drawn. When they enter the rink, it's completely dark, and all we can hear are the sounds of flesh being sucked on and devoured. The cops find May distraught and crying. Then they discover Bill's crew sucking the blood from Ralph's lifeless body. The cops quickly become their next course. Lo goes to May and explains that this is what she had been trying to tell her. Lo hopes that she'll choose to be with her forever or wind up being the group's third course. May begs Lo to let her go home, but that isn't an option. Not skipping a beat after being rejected, Lo goes back to her meal, and Bill gets his third course ready for his baby girl Tess. I love everything about this film. It's got suspense, romance, and a little bit of comedy, all in just 12 minutes. And I really liked the neon lighting. Obviously, I liked how it was able to create this playful atmosphere while still creating this sense of looming dread with the use of the red lights. When you think of a vampire film, a roller skating rink as the setting isn't the first thing that's going to come to many people's minds. So I asked Ronald what made him come up with this idea in the first place, and this is what he had to say.
First and foremost, thank you so much for having me and for reviewing our film, The Rink. That means so much to me. I'm a big fan of Rainbow Fright and everything you're doing with it. So to be included in one of your review videos is pretty huge. And I thank you. I can't wait to see it just as a fan. So thank you. I appreciate it. So it really started with the location. My producer and friend, Carrie Cates, she, a few years back, suggested we film something in a roller rink. And I think originally she was thinking kind of like a teen comedy sort of thing, but like the location really stuck with me, and I never really had an idea for it that worked out until at some point, I think it was in 2018 when I wrote the script, I got this weird inspiration to have vampires in a roller rink because like roller rinks are an older, they're huge in the 70s. still pretty big in the 80s, and they started, you know, dying out late 80s into the 90s. But they started coming back again these last few years, especially in times. But to me, it's just like an older activity, like it's retro. And what in the horror world, I think vampires are one of the most retro, you know. So I want to combine the world of the vampire with roller skating and just seeing how they mixed. I just enjoy the idea of these people, once people, now vampires, being drawn to stuff like a roller rink or roller skating. And like, even though they've killed probably countless amounts of people, done, you know, whatever they want, they still come and skate, you know, on a Saturday night with their friends. And I don't know, that's kind of a cool idea to me.
Us vampires like to have just as much fun as you humans do. But yes, this idea of vampires just wanting to lead a normal life is a common theme in vampire films. But having the setting take place in a roller rink is a fresh idea. And this combination of a playful atmosphere with this violent event is a fun one. The film centers around this big moment that Ronald would describe as something like a marriage proposal, and that is exactly what it feels like. We have Lo, who is trying to convince May to allow herself to become a vampire, that way they could be together forever. But before she can pop the big question, the group brutally attacks an innocent man, which doesn't persuade May to stick around. What I like about this moment is Lo's reaction to May's rejection. It's as if in that moment she lost all feelings for May and her instincts kicked back in. Poor Dolores has been searching for a partner for a long time and hoped that May was finally the one. She thought that she had finally found what Bill and Tess seemed to have. But instead, she's left to go searching again, to go find that person who's willing to live for an eternity in the name of love. Now, a short film set in one location can get pretty stale and boring really quickly, but Ronald does an amazing job with avoiding this completely. We've got interesting and dynamic camera angles and techniques that keep us engaged the entire time. Travis Ward has been the director of photography for many of Ronald's films, and he's always done an amazing job. The casting was on point. Every single actor was great, but some of the standout performances for me were Miriam and Bill. Peggy Schott, who plays Miriam, was the perfect nosy neighbor type. Her body movements and timing kept me smiling the entire time she was on screen. Bill, played by Lucas Hassel, reminded me a little bit of Negan from The Walking Dead. Just so full of himself and annoying. But man, he does it so well, and he really makes a great vampire. The special effects makeup was done by Meredith Johns, who's been nominated for an Emmy and has worked on Machete, Grindhouse, and one of my favorite films ever, Teeth. Man, Teeth will mess you up. Ronald mentioned that he believed Meredith's work really elevated the film, and I would have to agree. Having bad or even just okay makeup on a film like this would have ruined the entire thing. This film about violent, cold-blooded vampires really needed that gory imagery in order to have that full intended experience. So in order to put a team like this together, you definitely have got to have some coins. So I was curious to know how long pre-production was and how he was able to fund this project.
So pre-production was probably the longest period in our production process. It was about, I would say, a year from finishing the script to getting it made. In that time, we did apply for a couple grants that we were lucky enough to get. Carrie and my wife, Amy Kane, who helps produce a lot of my stuff, all of my stuff at this point. They worked together and made two pretty big grants happen. The Other Worlds Film Festival here in Austin, they gave us the Dan O'Bannon film production grant, which was incredible. That got us our first, little bit of money to get stuff going. And then we got a City of Austin grant as well, which, I've been trying to get grants for a while, and the fact that we got grants on this horror film kind of blew my mind, and it made me super excited. So because of those grants, we were able to, you know, finish getting some money through friends and, you know, peers, and we were able to make the thing happen. So the film was essentially done 2 months, I would say, after we finished shooting, and then we were just submitting to festivals, which we had a pretty good festival run. We played in some places that we, you know, didn't in the past, like Horrible Imaginings in California, which was incredible. Indie Shorts International, they're through the Heartland Film Festival in Indiana, and they're a pretty big Oscar qualifying festival, and that was pretty cool to play there. Because of I couldn't go to any of them, which was a super bummer, but you know, it was nice to be able to do at least the Zoom Q&As and stuff.
I wish I could go to Austin this Thursday to see this film on the big screen at the Lake Austin Film Festival Screams on Screen Halloween special, but I'll be busy editing. When this video is uploaded, the event will have been yesterday, but like I mentioned before, the film is available as of today, Friday, October 29th. A lot of Ronald's work is comedy, slice of life type stuff, but he often comes over to the dark side. I asked him to give a little more insight on what drew him to horror in the first place.
I've been producing horror since I started making movies. I mean, Godzilla was a huge inspiration for me. So like the first thing I ever did as a kid was I made a little Godzilla video with my sister with toys. Once I saw Halloween, I think I was 12 when I finally saw that movie. As a kid, I was really afraid of horror. I would see like the horror tapes at the video store, and my imagination would run so wild with the imagery just on the you know, the covers of these tapes. So I was always afraid to dive in. But when I saw Halloween and I got to a certain age, you know, I think I was 12. I got to an age where I just like, you know, this fake. Like no matter what, this isn't real. And I mean, it's incredible what a film like Halloween can do to the audience, and that's what you know, enamored me to horror is its power over people. It's just something I always loved, and I love the stories they tell. They get, you know, supernatural, or you know, even if it's just a slasher or whatever. I've just always been drawn to it. I mean, comedy is definitely something I've done more of because it's easier to make. It's not as expensive. Horror films, obviously, if you want to do something like bigger, like with vampires or monsters, you need effects, and that takes money, and even blood costs money to make, you know. I've got several shorts, and at this point, a few solid features that I really like to get off the ground, but it takes so much money, you know? Money, man. It's the worst. But I love horror, and I hope to make horror as much as I make anything else. I have a lot of ideas, and I just want to make them, you know? I want to make some people scared. I want to make them scared. I just want to make them poop their pants.
Let me know in the comments below what 3 vampire movies are your favorite. If you have a whole list, bring it on. There are so many vampire movies that I still need to watch, so I want to know which ones are the ones that I need to watch immediately. Here are Ronald's favorite vampire movies.
I like Catherine Bigelow's Near Dark. It's a big influence on this one in particular. I like to think that my group of vamps ran with that group in Near Dark. For a minute, maybe they're, you know, pals. But Near Dark is such a great vampire movie. I think it really holds up. I also like, on the comedy horror spectrum, I like What We Do in the Shadows. I really enjoy the film and the show. I think it's incredible what, you know, Jermaine Clement and Taika Waititi have done with those storylines. It's good. I love it. And a more recent film I saw was Jacob's Wife. That's a great vampire movie. A great modern one. Really liked it. I think it perfectly... It's another horror comedy. It's got some really funny moments. But the horror is really creepy, and the vampire stuff is gruesome, and I love the story with being about a married couple and like who are on the outs, but somehow connect again over the wife turning into a vampire. I don't know, you should see it. It's great. Jacob's Wife. Fantastic vampire movie.
Jacob's Wife is so good. It is definitely my favorite vampire movie of 2021. My other favorite vampire movies, not including Nosferatu, are Afflicted, which is a found footage film, but it doesn't hide the details behind the handheld gimmick. You do get to see every gory detail. I'm looking forward to another Derek Lee film. So far, this is his first and last feature film. There's also the classic Rabbit, a Cronenberg film. He's just so great with body gore. This vampire film is a bit different because the main character doesn't have your typical vampire teeth. Instead, she has a stinger in her armpit, and when she infects others, they just become violent zombies instead of vampires themselves. And of course, I love me some Blade and The Lost Boys, a couple of my childhood favorites. The Rink earns 4 rainbow skulls, and I cannot wait to see what Ronald does next. If you end up watching this movie, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Well, thank you again for joining me today, fellow Stardust. I appreciate you being here with me. I'll be back next week with another collaboration video. My good friend Manny's birthday is on Halloween Day, so I'll be reviewing one of his favorite Halloween films from the franchise, Halloween H2O. And if you saw my Halloween Kills review, you'll know that I am also part of the minority and really enjoy this film. Manny will be making a slasher cherry pie with a surprise design in the crust. You won't want to miss this. So, if you haven't already, go ahead and hop on the Rainbow Fright Freight Train and hit that subscribe button along with the notification bell. That way you'll get notified every time I upload a new video. I hope I see you next time. Peace.
And thanks for watching, and thanks for having me. I'm so excited to see this and to see the next Rainbow Fright review. Thank you. Love you. Bye.
Peace.